If you grew up in the late 80s and early 90s and watched those Saturday morning cartoons, you probably would say that was the golden age of animated shows. And there was one show in particular that came out in 1991 that centered around pirates. Hanna-Barbera had big hopes that this would be the next new, rich, successful franchise with comic books, video games, toys that would sell on for several years and even produce a few films. But sadly, this franchise ended early. So today on History of Pirates, we are telling the tale of the Pirates of Darkwater. The Pirates of Darkwater was about the alien world of Myr, and it was being devoured by an evil substance known as Dark Water. The only way that they could stop it was to find the 13 lost treasures of Rule. Myr was a world filled with its own unique characters, such as monkey birds and leviathans. It had around 20 seas, and most of the cruise stops were made at different islands. The pirates that were brought together to find these lost treasures and save the planet were led by Ren, a young prince, and he puts together a misfit crew: Tula, Niddler, which is a monkey bird, and Ayaz. They are hunted by the evil pirate Lord Bloth, who will stop at nothing to get the treasures for himself. The writing for this show is fantastic, and it rivals many of the big blockbuster films that we have today. Each individual person had a unique background as to why they were a part of this adventure. And with all that close attention to the particulars, such as characters and world building, Hanna-Barbera had the makings of an amazing story. Now let's take a quick look at the characters of the Pirates of Darkwater. Ren, the story's hero, was born on the crystal island of Octopon. He's the son of King Primus. When the king left in search of the fabled lost 13 treasures of Rule to save his dying world, Ren was given over to the care of Jenna, a lighthouse keeper. His identity was to be kept a secret, because the king knew that his enemies would surely do harm to his son if they found out who he was. Ren grew up unaware of his destiny and his true heritage until Episode 1. In Episode 1, entitled The Quest, Ren rescues an old man from a storm. He then finds out that that's his father, the king, and he is a prince, and it's up to him to put a crew together and find the legendary 13 treasures of Rule to save Myr. Ren is only 17 years old. Ayaz is a mercenary that will do almost anything for treasure. He used to be a part of the evil Bloth's nasty crew, but looking for a fast profit, he teamed up with Ren, who believed this naive boy was just looking for treasure. When he found out that Ren was looking for the lost 13 treasures of Rule, Ayaz becomes furious. But he is won over by Ren's integrity. In fact, he becomes somewhat of a big brother to Ren, not only protecting him in times of danger, but introducing him into ways of being a pirate. Tula is a warrior that can hold her own in a fight, but she also has a deep, nurturing sensitivity towards the environment. That is why she is an ecomancer. As an ecomancer, she can manipulate the elements and things around her, such as plants, trees, and even animals. In the series, she can even get a dragon to do her bidding. But she can't just point a finger at them and tell them to do something. She has to have a connection with that element. Then she'd be able to manipulate them. And even though she started off as a stowaway on the ship, she establishes herself as an asset to the group. Bloth is the antagonist of the series. Bloth will stop at nothing to gain the treasures, which will give him power to control the Dark Water and thus rule the planet. He is the captain of the monster warship, the Maelstrom. And with crew members such as Conch and Mantis, Bloth has a pretty established crew that can do a lot of damage. And of course, how could I forget Niddler? This is one of Ren's most loyal and trusted friends. That's right, he's a monkey bird. Our hero sailed around in one of the fastest ships in existence called the Wraith. Now, the ship didn't actually belong to the crew. Instead, it belonged to a vicious pirate. And this is how Ren met Ayaz. Ayaz was putting flyers around town saying, hey, I got a ship to rent. It's the fastest in all of Myr. And Ren approached him and saying, hey, I'd like to rent your ship. They sailed off, not knowing that Ayaz just stole the ship from the pirate. So yes, there are times when the vicious pirate tried to reclaim his ship. Now, with an amazing cast of characters, Hanna-Barbera spared no expense and got the best voice actors and put them all in one show. Jim Cummings, Brock Peters, Peter Cullen, Tim Curry, Jodie Benson, just to name a few. It was unheard of to get so many of these top-rated actors into one show, but they pulled it off. The series was created by David Kirshner, and it was the most expensive one of the time. And with all that cost came a huge push for merchandise.
Set sail for adventure, the Pirates of Dark Water. Now, for the race with Ren and his stallion crew as they search for the treasures of Rule. But beware.
Treasure's no good to a dead man.
Bluff and his wicked pirates are on the attack, so the Wraith is armed for battle with a boulder-hurling catapult,
It's a deck Kong.
a power blast harpoon, and a mainsail glider.
You're sunk, boss.
The Pirates of Dark Water, each sold separately.
Even though the show was a success with an older audience, it didn't quite reach the younger audience that the network wanted, so they could not justify the extremely high production cost to keep the series going. ABC opted not to renew the series for a second season, so it only initially aired those 13 episodes. During that period, Turner Broadcasting was in the process of acquiring Hanna-Barbera, so they wanted to focus on their own ideas. Kirshner pushed for the series to keep going, and Fox picked it up. It was given a second season of 8 episodes. Unfortunately, because of the production cost, Hanna-Barbera was unable to meet their air date deadlines, so the series was canceled November of 1992. The final episodes didn't even air until 6 months later in May, leaving a total of only 8 of the treasures found. The show was just cut. That was it. There was no ending. Only 21 episodes aired. But in 1994, a year after the final episode, a video game featuring the conclusion to the plot was released for the Sega Genesis. In November of 1991, Marvel Comics produced a comic book series based on the show. Originally intended as a 6-part limited series, it was extended to 9 issues to include a 3-part original story. Also mentioned before, Pirates of Dark Water video games were also released for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. So what could be next for the Pirates of Dark Water? Well, there has been rumors of a reboot and possibly bringing back the series just to finish it. The series still holds up today, and the story is pretty much written. In this age of reboots and terrible storytelling, this would be the one series that a studio should pick up and create an amazing adventure. If placed in the right hands, we could see another blockbuster. At least, that's my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. This is History of Pirates.